and welcome to this week's QPR Preview Show. Now, I ended last week's show saying we'd be previewing the matches with both Norwich and Stoke, but we're going to do just Norwich in this episode and throw in a bonus episode on Sunday ahead of the Stoke match and preview that one separately, because that one looks like it could be a big match at the bottom of the table. And the reason for that, of course, is because QPR surprised pretty much everybody with a win at Blackburn, a first win at Ewood Park in nearly 25 years. And that's not only kept QPR in the mix, but it's brought other sides like Stoke and Blackburn right into the thick of things themselves. It was a huge 3 points, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it was massive. They needed that win. We had a disappointment against Huddersfield last week, but I thought it was the manner of the performance was the most encouraging thing. We were really good. I thought it was really the best we played under Cifuentes for about 70 minutes. We should have been 4-5 up, really. We were so on top. We created so many chances and just looked really good. And it was exciting to have options from the bench when he made the triple substitution at 0-0. Thought that really turned it a bit more in our favour. They were all really good, and it was really encouraging. And the win with the other way the other results went, it was massive for us, especially with Huddersfield winning. We couldn't really afford not to win it in the end, could we?
No, definitely. And it was frustrating that we couldn't keep it at 2-0 because we deserved to be ahead. But them scoring at the time they did, it was pretty much torture towards the end. I got a few new grey hairs there as a result of that. But like I say, we deserved the win. Armstrong had the one-on-one. Obviously had another effort that he put just wide. Cook's header was just past the post. Apart from the first 5 minutes of the game, we were pretty much dominant thereafter. Just their goal made it a bit nervy towards the end, but we were good value for the 3 points. And what a contrast to how we performed against Blackburn earlier in the season. Again, we have to credit the manager, don't we, for what he's managing to extract from this team.
Yeah, he's getting so much from him. Like the starting 11, they were all here, weren't they, for that Blackburn game earlier in the season? And the difference in the team, there's just a much better organised without the ball now at the back. And going forward, we're just creating a lot more chances. Armstrong's got a lot to do with that, with his pace and that, but it's just so much better to watch. And we've got a fighting chance to get out of this. I didn't think we had one a while back, but I think we have now.
Yeah, so there's the table that's been doing the rounds, hasn't there? We've seen with the season, if it had started when Cifuentes took over, and we'd be 13th in the table. Only 3 teams have conceded less. It's an amazing job that he's doing. Unfortunately, the mess that Ainsworth has left us in is still causing us problems. We need snookers to survive still. So it was a vital win. You mentioned it, obviously. Huddersfield won 4-0. So we maintained the status quo I mentioned at the end of last week's show, but only because we got the win. So it was a massive win. But the key thing is, we touched on this as well, we've brought so many teams into the mix: Stoke, Birmingham, Blackburn, Swansea and Millwall, all within 5 points now of QPR. And considering we've been worried about dropping 6 points off Huddersfield, to have all of those teams within 5 points, it's a big shift, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive change bringing those in. And, if we can bring a few more in even closer, that would be brilliant. I think a few of them are playing each other at the weekend, so there's going to be some teams dropping points. So it's important that we back this win up and, don't just do what we've done before and win one game and then just go on holiday for 3 weeks. We need to keep backing it up. We can't just rely on it being us or Huddersfield. You need more teams involved, really. You saw how we panicked last year when we fell from comfortable mid-table to nearly going down. And, teams above us, that could happen to them as well.
Yeah, I know. It's just a shame that because of the position we've got ourselves into, it feels like one weekend of bad results going against us and we could be leaving ourselves a long way off again. And obviously with games running out as well. And every weekend, it is a big one now. This one looks like it could influence it again. And that's because Stoke play Blackburn, so they can't both get 3 points. Sheffield Wednesday host Birmingham on Friday. Huddersfield have a tough one against unbeatable Southampton. So there's a real opportunity again to not only escape the bottom 3, but to move within actual touching distance of some of those teams we're talking about. Obviously, it's Norwich at home for QPR. They had an excellent win at home to inform Coventry last week. And for the second week in a row, though, it's a real bogey side that QPR are facing. It's 8 games in a row without a win against Norwich. We've obviously lost twice to them already, 1-0 this season. In the last 8 games there that we've not won, we've only scored 3 goals. It's only 2 QPR wins in the last 19 games against them. That's going back 15 years. I'm sorry, but it's just the stats that are there. Norwich themselves, obviously 9th in the table, just outside the top 6. They're going to be seeing this, a game against the team in the bottom 3, as a big opportunity to keep pushing forward, though. They're obviously going to be targeting the top 6. Do you think they'll make it?
I'm not sure they will, but they've quite quietly got really close to it again, haven't they? They seem to have been like just drifting for most of the season, but they've had a good run recently, and they're not far off it. Probably that last playoff place is quite open. There's quite a few teams going for it. You'd think probably the top four is pretty much set, but below that, it's quite open really. And like you say, we don't have a great record against them, do we? We always seem to be in the same division as them, but never seem to beat them. But it's a big opportunity for us. We really need to take this. We need to back up last week. And, you know, Cifuentes says it not. It's all about us and how we play. If we perform at a high level again, like we did last week, we can compete against anyone. And, Norwich are a good side, but they're not an unbeatable side. I thought we should have beat them at their place earlier in the season. And even the cup game was pretty close. So, there's nothing to be terrified of here. We should be going for this one.
Yeah, they're not the same Norwich side that they have been in the past at this level where they just steamroll the league. Like you say, they've done well to get themselves back in a position where they're near the top six because they've been actually in the bottom half a fair bit of the season. Away from home, they've actually got the same away record as QPR, 4 wins, 8 defeats. At home, they're a much better side. They're 6th in the home table, 18th away. So maybe there's something to cling to there that they aren't quite the same side away from home. Although, of course, we have to say every week QPR have the worst home record in the division. So make of that what you will. But if we can win at Ewood Park, surely we can get something against Norwich. Another real positive this week for QPR was, of course, the new signings. We're always happy to be wrong. And in last week's show, we weren't sure we'd make any signings beyond Michael Frey. But of course, we had 2 coming on deadline day, Isaac Hayden and, of course, match winner Joe Hodge. Then on Monday, it was confirmed we had Lucas Andersen from Denmark. And the squad just looks infinitely better, doesn't it? What have you made of the signing?
Yeah, I was surprised they made that many. I think they've been impressive so far. We only see him for a bit at the weekend, but Hayden just looked a really good championship player, didn't he? He was excellent in midfield, and I was really impressed with Hodge. Not just his goal, just having someone from midfield break forward and make that run for the goal. It was like, oh my God, we haven't seen this for a long time, have we? Someone doing that, and he done it a couple of times, and I'm quite excited about him. I haven't seen Andersen play before, but he's got a good pedigree, so hopefully he can add something. And just having that something extra off the bench really did make a difference at the weekend. We were on top, but normally that tends to drift away because we can't really make changes, but we can now. And it's a real positive for us. The midfield was what we needed to improve, in my opinion, and we really have, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The midfield has gone up levels, and probably a question next week is going to be what midfield you even pick, isn't it? Hodge, even warming up against Blackburn, looked excellent. He put a few shots right in the top corner when they were warming up. And my dad at the game actually said if he gets on, he's going to score, and he almost scored with his first touch, didn't he? So he does look good. Hayden, if you look at the stats, he's actually gone straight into second place in the squad passing accuracy behind Jack Colback. And he didn't even have the ball that much when we came on. So it suggests that his level of composure is going to be brought to the midfield. Where do you see Andersen fitting in, though? Because obviously we already have Smith on the bench most games. Where does he come in?
I think he might come in for Willock. Willock hasn't done that brilliantly the last few games. I don't know. There was talk that they were trying to get rid of him on transfer deadline day, but it fell through. I think he'll probably go wide. He'll probably start the first game on the bench, I would have thought, and they'll ease him in. But again, it just gives us options, doesn't it? There's sure you got Smith or Willock, or now you got Andersen on the right. You could potentially play in the middle, and you could instead of Dykes potentially. They've got a few options now, which they haven't had all season.
Yeah, definitely. That is the key thing, isn't it? The QPR team has pretty much picked itself all season long. Now you've got options, question marks. I think with his signing, Andersen, they may be planning ahead for the departure of Willock and probably Chair in the summer too, aren't they? If we're being honest. And they've maybe just made the move now to secure him so he's already in the building. Like you say, what a transformation though, to have no options on the bench to so many. And if we look ahead to the QPR team to play Norwich, do you think it's Sam Fields obviously missing out? Do you think it's going to be Dixon Bonner or Hayden in the defensive midfield position?
I think he might bring Hayden in for this one. Although I thought Dixon Bonner did do quite well last week, but I think he'll go with experience for this one. It's tough for these 3-game weeks because he does tend to shuffle the team around a bit for these when we have this, and arguably Stoke's a bigger game on Wednesday, but you got to get points on the ball before we play them, really. So I think that'll probably be the only change from the starting lineup. He seems to like Smith off the bench, doesn't he? Yeah. And been starting Willock. So I imagine that's probably what he'll do again.
Yeah, I mean, Willock, he still has moments where he looks brilliant and he drifts across and links up, but it's all too fleeting in the game, isn't it? He's not influencing the games as much as he should. I think the only other doubt for this match is Kenneth Powell. He went off injured, but it's probably a like-for-like swap with him. It'd just be Larkesh playing if Powell doesn't make it. Do you think we could see a change of shape with Dykes dropping out for Hodge? Maybe not in this game, but going forward?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, Dykes has done okay playing in that role, but you've probably got players that are more suited to it now coming in with Hodge and Andersen as well. So you could see a change for that. I don't think he'll change it straight away. I think he'll stick with Dykes probably for Saturday in the next few games. But long term, it could be something that happens.
Yeah, definitely. And probably maybe more he'll look at opposition. At least he's got options now, hasn't he? Depending who we're playing, maybe away from home, it'll be different. One thing we have to mention this week ahead of a home game is the Loftus Road pitch. It seems to be getting progressively worse, and it looked horrendous last time out against Huddersfield. It was tearing up every time a player kicked the ball. Steve Cook mentioned after that game that the pitch was making it hard to play. I mean, this is the first of 8 home games that we've got left. It looks like it's going to be terrible by the end of the season. It's not going to make our chances any better in the home games, is it?
No, and they made such a big thing of this new pitch and how brilliant it was going to be. And at the fans forum, Lee Hughes was saying the pitch isn't one of our problems; it's all going to be fine. And it's a problem all of a sudden, isn't it? It is cutting up, and it's not great for It doesn't seem to have done that for a few years, and it's not going to get any better really, is it, for the end of the season? And with Cifuentes wanting to play a passing style, can't really do that when the pitch is cutting up. So it is going to make it difficult for us.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to play out from the goalkeeper all the time, and it was evident at Blackburn, they're still really trying to enforce that. The goal areas at Loftus Road are starting to look absolutely joke. The ball will be bobbling around. It's just a bit of a joke that it's got to this position already by January, February, when they built it up so much, and they even delayed the season, obviously, at home to try and make it right. Well, predictions then, bad pitch or not? Are we going to put another bogey side away?
I really hope so. I think it might be. I'm going to go for a draw again, though. I think it'd be. We don't normally beat them. If we can just keep the unbeaten run going, get another point on the board, I think that still puts us in a decent position. So yeah, I'll go with a draw. But hopefully, I'm wrong and we win it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. Norwich look like they set up in a similar shape to us at the moment, so it could be a tight possession battle. And we know this QPR side at the very least is harder to beat now, which is a good thing. With the fixtures as they are this weekend, a win probably couldn't be more perfectly timed if we could get it to really close in. But I think 1-1 is a good bet myself as well. Let us know your predictions and thoughts on the signings in the comments below. And like I said at the start, we're going to do an extra show at the weekend to preview the big match against Stoke. Let's hope it is a big match by the time we get there and we haven't let ourselves down. Thank you for watching, and come on, you R's.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.